I spent about half of the 2020s hosting a podcast called Delayed Replay, recapping and reviewing movies that came out on time in my universe but got delayed in that other universe. And as such, the movies as they were in my universe came out differently. Some listeners not of this universe even think that this is an improvised comedy podcast. And hey, let them think what they want. It's entertaining either way, right? I'm Shinder, and you're listening to Delayed Replay Season 6. Hashtag 6 seasons about movies. New episode every other Saturday. Unless I say otherwise. Hello listeners, welcome to another episode of Delayed Replay, that podcast where we recap and review movies that got delayed in that other universe, but came out on time in our universe. I'm your host, Shinder, and on this episode, we're talking about Return to Silent Hill, which came out, I think, several months ago or a year ago for us. I'd have to double check, time's kind of weird, but in that other universe, it comes out in 2026, but introductions are in order. I'm joined once again by Mr. Multiverse for yet another video game movie. How's it going?
It's going good. Looking forward to this. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, for sure. So for starters, what's your history with the Silent Hill franchise?
The Silent Hill franchise for me is kind of a relatively new enjoyment. I'm more of a Resident Evil kind of guy. But Silent Hill, I think, has its own perks. I have always enjoyed like the psychological horror of it. And I also think that the game kind of really excels in like actually being a horror game, whereas Resident Evil, it has its scare, kind of lose its horror luster a little bit till Resident Evil 7. But I think Silent Hill is kind of like course correcting after a few, shall we say, misfires in the franchise. So I haven't played Silent Hill F yet, but I have heard really good things about it.
Alright. Yeah, I've never played any of the games. I've only recently watched the first two movies, Silent Hill and Silent Hill Revelation. I thought the first movie was fine enough. It felt creepy. I know that there's like the CGI might be a point of contention, but I thought it contributed to the creepiness. But then Silent Hill Revelation was really...
And it's garbage.
No, yeah, it is. Because, I mean, even setting aside the contradictions, I know they were trying to be more like some of the game lore or something from what I understand, but in doing so contradicted some of the first movie. But yeah, it just felt really weird how like the first half didn't feel as much like the first Silent Hill movie to me, and that was like my baseline for what Silent Hill is. And midway, like halfway through the movie, the camera lingers on the sign that says Silent Hill as if it's trying to remind you like what movie you're watching.
The first movie, it's not perfect, but I think it's underrated in terms of like video game movies. I think it does have some solid. It feels like someone gave a damn about the trying to be accurate to the game to some extent. I give that movie a pass. Revelations? No. That movie deserves all the ire and contempt you can give.
Right. Because the first film really does feel like going through a video game, and looking at it in the context of what else was out, I mean, you mentioned Resident Evil. There were those Resident Evil movies, which I thought those movies had diminishing returns, personally, so...
It's diminishing from the gate. You're right out the gate.
Yeah, definitely. So for that era, I think that first Silent Hill movie was decent, and we're kind of fortunate that in recent years there have been better video game movies. Not all of them are good. There's still misfires here and there, but yeah, it's interesting to look back at some of those older ones.
Yeah. I am curious about Zach Kreger's Resident Evil, the director of like Weapons and Barbarian. I don't know what he's planning to do with this movie, if I'm being honest. It's supposed to be close to the video games, but not. And also, it's set during the winter, and it's, I don't know, like, I'm just going to say, if this movie fails, we should never do another Resident Evil movie ever again. And that just proves God doesn't want a proper Resident Evil movie.
Yeah, I totally get that. Like, with so many attempts, it's like, why even bother if you can just never get it right, I guess.
Yeah. So this movie is kind of a loose adaptation of not Resident Evil, Silent Hill 2, which is considered by most the peak of the Silent Hill mountain.
Right.
And, yeah. And did it work? I have thoughts, but you go first.
Right. So going in, not having played the games, I still knew this was a loose adaptation. From what I understand, in the Silent Hill 2 game, you have James, and I guess in the game, like, his wife, Mary, is deceased, but here it's more like, well, at first you're told that they're separated, and he, like, really misses her, and then gets a letter from her, and that makes him want to go to, like, where this letter mentions, which is Silent Hill. So that kind of recontextualizes the whole thing, because I imagine that in the game it's more like, whoa, how did I get this letter from someone deceased? Or maybe it's unfinished business, like maybe it was written before she died. Again, not having played the game, but here it's more like, oh, he really misses her and just wants to get back together with her. And without having seen much of the relationship, I didn't feel as invested. But what did you think of it?
You see, the game doesn't really give you a lot at first to make you care about the relationship between Mary and James, our main protagonist. But as you play through again and goes deeper, you really do feel it. Especially the remake kind of helps a little bit more on establishing more of the relationship. Here, you're supposed to be like, in the original version of the game before the 2024 remake, you basically only have his word to go on. Whereas in the remake, you do get a deeper connection of why James is like going through all of this for finding answers.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess in that sense, it feels a bit like they're trying to be like the original game by not giving, I mean, speaking for myself, enough to like care about initially, but yeah, it really...
in the movie, it's just like the original 2001 version, where it's like, you're just thrown into the situation, and we're just told he loves Mary. There's no anything, and it's actually like, if anything, it's less.
Yeah, and they even, this time the camera sort of whizzes by the Silent Hill sign in like a super quick fashion where it's almost nauseating. Like, there were some camera movements that were making me dizzy in this particular film, honestly.
Yeah, the camera work in here is shoddy at best, and like, it's almost like the camera guy has ADHD, because it's like, I'm gonna go do this now. Like, I was like, I don't know if that was an artist thing, because it's from the same director as the original film. And there was some beautiful cinematography in here, but I'm like, did they just fire the original, did they fire the cinematography and camera crew from the first movie, or they couldn't find him and replaced him with this guy because this guy is on something.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of the beginning of like that first live action Hobbit movie where you see the dragon sequence and it's just all over the place. So yeah, not very good.
It reminded me a lot. Also, like they overuse this like spinning camera move. Have you ever seen Mary Shelley's Frankenstein?
That's the one from the 90s, right?
Yeah, the Kenneth Branagh movie where they do that circling shot constantly.
Yeah, I've seen it, but it's been like 15 years since I saw it.
Well, you can wait another 15 years to watch. It's not great. Robert De Niro, let's just say Del Toro's Frankenstein movie is like a better version of that movie.
No, yeah, Del Toro's Frankenstein is really good. So it's like really pissing me off seeing people online being like, oh, it wasn't accurate enough. It disrespected the novel. And I'm like, shut the hell up. We've had a more accurate Frankenstein before in like 2004, and Del Toro's Frankenstein does understand the material, and the liberties aren't even bad. Like it's one of the better adaptations. It's nuts how people react online.
Yeah, I'm like, did none of you like? If one person said I prefer the Kenneth Branagh movie, and I said I know you're lying. But yeah, that's I'm getting back to this. That's the camera work I feel like we were playing with here. I also feel like what was I forget the actor's name who plays James in the movie.
Yeah, I think it's Jeremy Irvine, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's Jeremy Irvine.
Why does that sound familiar?
Let's see. He was in Treadstone, The Railway Man, Warhorse. What's he been in recently? Baghead, This Is Christmas, Benediction. Some of these I'm not really recognizing. Oh, he was in the Woman in Black sequel, Angel of Death, which I don't even remember if I've seen that one.
I forget there was a sequel. I mean, okay, so he's nobody. I'll tell you this, he's also not James.
Okay, so he doesn't fit the role, is what you're saying.
Yeah, no. Here, he's like James in the game, in both versions, both the remake or the original. James Sunderland is a way more reserved but damaged person, who's very remorseful. He's very but he's also not an idiot. He's also not like, oh, what is going on? It's more like, this is screwed up. I don't want to be here anymore. But he's also damaged because he's dealing with grief and loss, and that's the whole thing of the game. Here, he's trying to be both an action hero and a coked out mess.
Yeah, it really feels too much like one of those generic horror movie protagonist characters. So, there were some bits of dialogue that he delivered in such an awkward way, and it was just yeah, I'm not really feeling this,
Yeah. Dude, what bothers me about this movie is that, again, it's from the same director who, again, I like the first movie. I think it's got some credible stuff to it. And here, it's did they just forget what made the first movie at least watchable at the bare minimum? Because there's just lens flares. There's dude, it is not it's not the early 2000s anymore. You don't have to. I don't know. Am I making sense?
No, yeah, I totally get it. It feels like it honestly feels like they forget stuff about that first movie. I don't even remember if they even reference events of the last two movies all that much. So it kind of feels like its own universe, but they do try to remind you of the 2000s by having James listen to the Gorillaz song Feel Good Inc. as he's driving to Silent Hill. But then it's like that's pretty much the only thing that like reminds me of the two like that's pretty much the full extent of good stuff from the 2000s that they put in there. Like they don't really do the effort of trying to replicate what made that first movie decent.
Yeah, and they keep trying to say like, oh, it's early 2000s, late 90s. Why the hell then does James have a smartphone?
Yeah. You know what that
Did you see that Tupac biopic, the really awful one, All Eyes on Me?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I just don't. First off, there's literally a scene where they're using an iPhone, and it's supposed to be like 1992.
Okay, you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Texas Chainsaw 3D, where like the main character who was born around the time of the first movie is like mid 20s or something during the events of the present day, but you can clearly see that it's 2012. Like there's a grave marker that says the year, and they also have like smartphones and stuff. And it's like people disagreed about the timeline while they were making this, clearly. So it reminded me of that.
Yeah, I'm like, is there like a low effort canon guy? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm about to make sense. Is there someone on like in movie sets that like have to make sure everything's of the times?
Yeah, because the thing I've heard is that there are continuity consultants, but I think that might have to do with like, okay, what was this character wearing in that scene that's before this scene? But I don't know if there are many productions that have experts on the lore and the canon and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know, but it really felt like this one was lacking in that department.
It bothers me too because like there's other times where they're like walking around in some of the buildings and there's like not, like several computers like of like clearly running on Windows 95, and then they find like a flat screen TV in in a rundown apartment room.
Yeah, and they try to make the flat screen TV scary by having the screen be static and sizzling until it like explodes or whatever, but that felt like too loud and kind of action movie-ish to me. So it's I don't know, it just felt like a cheap jump scare the way that they did that.
Yeah, and this movie's full of them. And I will say this: at least there was practical effects. And I'm such a dirty simp for practical effects. I'll say this: at least the monsters, for the most part, are practical effects, like the nurses and especially Pyramid Head.
Yeah, the monsters looked pretty good. Like, if it does feel like they were at least trying with their overall look. It's just that some of the sequences were kind of lacking. The raccoons like were really sinister the way that they looked here. What'd you think of their design?
Yeah, the raccoons are kind of are I guess supposed to be some of like, because here's the thing about Silent Hill is that it's not like, you know, not just generic monsters or scary nurses or Pyramid Head. It's supposed to be like a mirror of your grief and your psychic and your mental trauma. I don't know what the raccoons were representing, but see them like almost like twisting and bursting into these inside-out creatures reminded me a lot of the Thing. So I was like, I'll forgive it. It makes no sense for the what we're doing. I mean, the overall theme of Silent Hill, but at least, you know, looks cool.
Yeah, I do think it made a little more sense when he stumbled into that creepy chicken coop, and the chickens kind of looked half cooked. It kind of looked like they were partially like cooked chicken, like you would see at a dinner place. And so that's when we get this flashback to like his first date with Mary, played by Hannah Emily Anderson. And apparently she was also in the movie Jigsaw. She played Eleanor in that, who was like a Jigsaw fan type of person. So interesting. But yeah, what'd you think of the placement of this flashback scene?
Really bizarre, and also they have no chemistry.
Yeah.
Like, they're talking about a 2-minute conversation about how they like to cook their chicken, and it's not even like fun. It's not even like, it's not even that. It's just like, oh, I like it cooked this way. Well, I like it this way. And it's not even like a debate or like how they view each other as lovers. It's just, it doesn't give us any insight as to why James would go through all of this. It's just a conversation about cooking chicken.
Yeah.
What is this movie It's, God, it's just, I literally have this thing of, what is this movie doing for me?
Yeah, I mean, the most that this scene did was made me hungry, which is not something you want to do to, like, potentially you can make the audience want to just leave the theater and grab something to eat.
Watching this movie, I was like, so Silent Hill, Return to Silent Hill. I'm a guy watching this movie. When am I supposed to care?
Yeah.
The answer is, not really.
Right. Well, what'd you think of Evie Templeton as Laura? She was recently in Wednesday season 2, but what'd you think of this version of the character?
I think it's probably one of the better versions. I think it's better. Like, clearly there was an attempt here more than James, but that's not saying a lot. Like, I don't know what it is. Is it just, does everyone feel a little like no one did a reread of the script? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I feel like maybe if they had waited a bit longer, let this cook a bit longer, like not to remind you of like the cooking conversation again, but just give this movie more time and the script some more time. Maybe they could have put out something better.
Yeah. Even then, I'm like, there was no direction on set. Everyone feels either really bizarre or really wooden. There's no in between.
Yeah, and I kind of, I don't want to give them too much credit. There was a moment where I wondered if it was intentional in order to make the audience feel uncomfortable, but I honestly don't think they put that much thought into it.
I really don't think they did, if I'm being honest. I really don't think that.
Right, and whenever James, after like he meets up with Laura and whatnot, and they kind of try to help each other, whenever he uses this baseball bat to try hitting some of these creatures, it comes across like unintentionally funny the way he does it. Like it's basically like batting away a ball as opposed to smashing into like something's head or whatever. Like I don't know what they were thinking.
He also does this yeah F sound every time. I'm like, this is Return to Silent Hill, not Legend of Zelda.
Right.
Like, he has to make a yeah sound every time he tries to swing at them.
Oh man, yeah. Let's hope the Legend of Zelda movie is decent.
I mean, here's my problem with, and I'm going to go into a bit of a tirade with video game movies real fast.
No, yeah, go for it.
We are living in this age of video game movies. It's not great, but we actually have things to be like point and go. That's really good. Like the Sonic movies, whether you like it. I mean, yeah, they're not like the games, but at least they're entertaining. The Mario movies. You also have the first season of Last of Us. But we're still like trying to get there. You know what I mean? Like Until Dawn sucked. It's like, and I think, and this kind of goes for when writers try to do comic book adaptation. This is going to sound weird. Everyone has to make their own stamp on it. Like, everyone thinks they're smarter than the other writer. And I think that just applies for Hollywood in general. When you want to do adaptations, you're like, well, I saw this thing, and I'm clearly better than that, so I'm going to put my own personal stamp on it. It's kind of like there was an interview with Del Toro years ago, and he said, Hollywood always wants to put their dick in things. No, really, like, when he was literally shooting, it was like an interview, I can't remember what it was, but it was like Hellboy. Like, he was directing Hellboy, and one of the producers of the film went to him and said, what if Hellboy was just a guy, and he got really angry and turned into Hellboy?
Oh my gosh, that sounds awful.
Right? Like, and then he just paused for a second, like, Hollywood just likes to put their dick in things.
Yeah.
There is nothing here that feels like Silent Hill. It feels more like we're doing a checkbox of, did we see the nurses? Yes. Did we see Pyramid Head? Yes. Did we see the sign to Silent Hill? Yes. Did we play the theme from Silent Hill? Yes. Then we don't need anything else. It's for the fans.
And we did talk about that too on the Mortal Kombat 2 episode about writers wanting to like one up each other. So I definitely feel that here as well, much to the film's detriment, unfortunately.
Yeah. It definitely just feels unnecessary, and I don't get it. Like, if you really want to make it like for the fans, then do the thing. Now, granted, I've also been a proponent of, if you can't do it right, just have it be in the universe. Like, have it be a story, and maybe that's what I'm kind of thinking what Zach Kreger's doing with Resident Evil, where it's a story set in that universe, and it does take elements, but it doesn't impede anything. It doesn't impede or tarnish what the game was about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely a route that I think I'd prefer, because whenever there's an adaptation of something, it's like, do they need to do this, or can they just put something also set in this world that really plays with the themes and the setting of it without interfering with other stuff? Like, I feel like people confine themselves when they try to do the same thing and then decide how similar do they want it to be, how different should it be, and it just sometimes leaves nobody happy, really.
Yeah. I think that would be a smart way, especially like if you're doing anime adaptations for Hollywood. Just have it be like a movie or storyline set in that universe, have some familiar elements, but have it be an original story that doesn't impede what you're telling with the original anime or something of that degree. That's what I've always, maybe instead of trying to do like a full-on adaptation of My Hero Academia like they're trying to do at Lionsgate, maybe just have it be a different set of characters but set in that universe, and you can make references to it, and if the movie does well enough, maybe you can introduce the characters from the anime in here. I don't know. I feel like I'm speaking heresy.
No, yeah, when the Avatar The Last Airbender live action show was made, I thought it was fine overall. It's definitely not as good as the animated version, but I do remember somewhere along the way I thought to myself, why couldn't they have just, if they want to make a live action story, why do they have to just do the same story? Why can't they just tell a new story with different characters set in that same world, maybe different region, different era? It's like, I feel like that would be a more creative choice. And even looking at the Disney stuff, whenever people say they want a live action Treasure Planet, I'm like, no, you don't. You love the animated movie as it is. Maybe you want a live action movie set in that same world. That could be interesting, but what do we accomplish by just doing the same thing again?
Yeah, I mean, look at Predator Killer of Killers in Badland.
Yeah, those are excellent.
Yeah, it's also like a perfect example of you can do something with the material of a universe and tell a completely new story, or in Killer of Killers case, stories with the original like blood or the theme of the franchise and not impede it.
Yeah, and I've seen some bad takes online for Predator Badlands as well, because of course there are bad takes, like people saying that like the main Predator character of this new one is not as menacing as the previous ones, and it's like, that's the point, you morons. Like these are not all the same character. These are all different Predator alien characters. They're allowed to be different. You're allowed to have like different types of characters in this universe.
Yeah, and that's what I think what should have happened here, is that maybe instead of trying to do a adaptation of Silent Hill 2, the best of the games, maybe, I don't know, how about you tell well, we did that with Revelation and that turned out well. It didn't turn out so well. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, you know. Either you could do something original like Badlands, or you end up with Silent Hill Revelations when you go that route. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they do kind of try to, I guess, you know, as they get toward the end of the movie, it kind of feels like they try to be like, oh, see, we have played the game, because once he meets Mary, he realizes that, wait, she's been dead this whole time, and it just feels like such a hollow twist the way it comes across. Like she's there, but she's a ghost. It's just really ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also like, we knew Mary was dead. We know from the beginning of the second game. It didn't have to be a twist.
Yeah, and I think at my screening when that scene happened, I saw like someone facepalm themselves, and I heard like a couple groans. So that really was the vibe of this movie.
Yeah, one guy went, and then when it went one step further of like, this was all, like Silent Hill itself isn't really a real city. It's forged from Mary's psychic trauma. And I went up and I said out loud, "Are you f***ing me?" Silent Hill is a real place, but here it's like it's a manifestation of Mary who apparently has latent psychic abilities that can alter reality, like she's a goddamn Q.
Yeah, I think that stuff like that really diminishes the horror of the setting, because it's like, if it's not in, I mean, I guess it depends on the franchise and how each property tries it, but it just didn't work here for me. Like, this was not my understanding of what Silent Hill is.
Yeah, if you don't know what Silent Hill is, you're going to be confused. If you do know what Silent Hill is, you're just going to be angry.
Yeah, and they even try to do like this ambiguous ending where like we see a terrazzo installer, you know, it's the type of worker that like puts in like tiles and stuff in the kitchen and stuff. And we see a steel worker as well, and there's a tile that has a pattern that's supposed to look like the faces of like James, Mary, and Laura, and they try to make it ominous, like they're trapped in the tile or something, and it's like, how is anyone supposed to follow any of this and be satisfied?
Right? Like, are we saying that it is, Silent Hill is a real place and there's trapped in there, or we're trapped in Mary's mind, or is Mary not psychic? Like, you just defeated your own plot twist.
Yeah. Man, this movie was just so bad.
I don't hate it as much as Revelation, but I hate this movie.
Yeah, man, I don't know. It's like kind of neck and neck for me, but yeah. Was there anything else that you wanted to bring up?
didn't care much for the dig at Resident Evil. I thought that was a little petty of, like, you know, they're going through a police station, and Evie's like, you know, it says here, like, she's going through papers, is like, it looks like there's a correspondent from Raccoon City, and James just goes, I bet that place sucks. I'm like, off.
Yeah, it's just like the Street Fighter sucks thing in Mortal Kombat. Like, these people making these movies just can't resist. They think that it's a cute little rivalry thing, but just comes across like super condescending and annoying.
Yeah. All of this was just embarrassing. Like, now I see why it was released. It should have been released in January. That way it would have been a red flag.
Yeah, do not return to Silent Hill.
Maybe we should go back to Silent Hill. Ever. Again.
Yeah, just watch King of the Hill instead. The revival was actually pretty good.
You know somewhere out there on the internet there's King of the Silent Hill.
No, yeah, I'm sure there is.
Pyramid Head, you tell me which way of this city you want me to put your ass, because I'm gonna kick it. That nurse ain't right.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, this was, should we do the ratings?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Alright. I am going to give this, I'm, like, what is it, out of 10 or out of 5?
Out of 10.
Out of 10. I'm going to give this 4. Is this reality? Is this psychic impression? Or is this bullshit of 10?
Okay. Yeah, I think I might go a little bit lower. Like, I'm going to give this 3.8 plates of cooked chicken out of 10. Like, yeah, this was not a fun watch. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a slog. And I thought, like, and I've been through slog movies, but this was just like, I had to will myself not to walk out, which I've only walked out ever in my life of a movie. That was Jack Black's Year One.
Oh, yeah. And this one was like only an hour and 20 minutes, so if...
Oh, wait, no, I did walk out of another... That was the second movie I ever walked out of was Twisters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I was like, oh wait, I did walk out of Twisters.
Yeah, I actually barely remember anything about Twisters now that I think about it.
I just call that movie a high-budget Hallmark movie.
Okay. Yeah, there were like kind of Hallmark vibes, yeah, which, I mean, having seen a couple Hallmark movies and just how flat they feel, I'm like, why do people spend so much time watching these movies? How does this channel exist? But yeah, it's just a weird thing.
Which is weird because, going back to Frankenstein, weirdly enough, they did a perfect adaptation of the original Frankenstein novel back in the 2000s.
Yeah, and I've seen someone say that kind of feels like... What, did that air on Hallmark, or is somewhere else?
It was produced by them and everything.
Oh, wow, yeah, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, they also did Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and I think they did, like, stuff for Halloween in the early 2000s before they went, we're just gonna make romance Christmas movies.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Although I will say I did sit through one because Bruce Campbell was in it.
Of course he did.
I was like, what? It was. I think I was watching, or my mom was watching one, and it was like, it's always like, you know, some bullshit with the word Christmas in it. It was something Christmas, and I was like, this is dumb. Starring Bruce Campbell. Excuse me? Well, I mean, if Bruce is here, I mean, it wasn't good, but Bruce Campbell, though.
Yeah, I think I might have seen a commercial for that one. Huh.
Anyway, so I got nothing.
Alright, well, I guess that'll do it then. So thanks for joining me for this Return to Silent Hill discussion. Where can people find your stuff, Mr. Multiverse?
You can go on YouTube and find me on Mr. Multiverse. I would appreciate the like and subscribe. That's it's kind of my only income right now, so I appreciate the monetary gains.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and check out his channel, folks, and I'll link it in the show notes. So that'll do it for now. Stay tuned for next episode of the podcast, and without further delay, have a good day. All right, so this is Steven in the edit, and yeah, what a movie to discuss. You know, sometimes things happen with horror movies and how they're made, and with the differences between our universes, like, I don't know, there's all sorts of weird stuff. Like, over here, Lee Winnell was briefly considered for the Wolfman movie, but of course it went with that other director over here, but Lee Winnell over there. But yeah, anyway, so we'll hear from my other self in a moment, a little bit about what he's been watching. But first, you can find me at the social media listed in the show notes, and go to stevenshinder.com for info on my standalones and Stepping Stones novels. You can also find me on the Yes Shift podcast. Went to a couple concerts recently, so there will be reviews on that show and some other cool stuff. And check out Drum Talk TV Brilliance and the artists that we have Q&As with. All the info is on the site drumtalktvbrilliance.com. And you can email delayedreplaypodcast@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on silence. Do you prefer it over jump scares? I don't know. So, yeah, that's it for me for now. Another video game themed episode next week, next Saturday. So without further delay, here's my other self with his little update. Hey everyone, so it's been a pretty busy time. Not a whole lot of newer watches. I did watch Freakier Friday, which, it's on streaming, and I thought it was a little bit better than the 2003 movie. I thought the 2003 movie was okay. This one changed things a little bit, involves 4 characters this time, and there's an element of, new, like, potential new family and whatnot. So there's interesting stuff there, but I was really deciding whether it's like a 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10, and on Letterboxd I gave it a 3.5, mainly to show that I prefer it over its predecessor. But yeah, it's kind of just somewhere around okay and fine. Like, it's not that groundbreaking, even though it did something a little bit different. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I didn't really miss out not seeing it in the theater. Has a couple of cringe moments, but I guess that's to be expected. So apart from that, watched another new episode of South Park. It kind of feels like they dropped one of the story threads because they weren't sure what to do with it. There is a My Neighbor Totoro reference, so when pop culture references that movie, that's when I realized, it's embarrassing that I haven't seen this movie yet. I've been gradually making my way through some of the Studio Ghibli movies over the last while, so gave that a watch. I thought it was okay. Some of the yelling was kind of annoying, but yeah, maybe I'll watch some better movies from that studio. I did like the Kiki's Delivery Service more than that one. I can't remember if I mentioned having watched that recently. And last weekend I had a birthday get together with friends, so we had a great time rewatching Back to the Future, and I also put Zathura on, so that was a first watch for at least a couple friends who were there, so all around fun time. I watched the 2004 Frankenstein film that was essentially like a TV movie, and Dean Koontz was involved with it and then decided to leave his name off of it when it became so different from what he had pitched or suggested or whatever. Hence the Dean Koontz's Frankenstein books that came out a little bit later, which I've been meaning to read for years and I might finally get to in the near future. I also meant to put out a Predator Badlands review video this week. It's just, I've just been so bombarded with other things I've needed to take care of. So, it's, the voice work has been recorded. I just need to put the visuals together and, decide how much effort I want to do with that. So, that should be on the YouTube channel at some point soon. Steven Shinder reviews in video form. But yeah, I guess it'll be a brief update this time around. I'll give another one next time, of course. So without further delay, have a good day.